Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of The Elite, the Elite Count Super. I'm War Machine MJ, and let's go ahead and jump right in with my quick, dirty, lowdown rundown. A quick, dirty rundown of quick, dirty lowdown. What you get what I'm saying? So, let's go ahead and kick the show off. There was a backstage segment kicking off the show where Hangman was getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and of course, the Young Bucks who were standing to the left of Hangman. Basically, he was mocking Hangman, the Bucks, and telling them, "My mystery partner for later on tonight is someone that he trusts and has known for a long time." Next, we had a match between Cody and Ortiz. Fantastic match with Lance Archer and Jake Snake Roberts sitting ringside, and Cody made Ortiz tap with figure four. Afterwards, there was a big scrum between the Elite and the Inner Circle. Of course, Jericho was in the. Well, no, it was Santana had rushed the ring, and of course, the Elite ran him off. Meanwhile, Jericho, Hager, and Guevara were on the big screen, talking trash at the Elite, with Nick Jackson, who was bleeding from the mouth and had his arm trapped underneath a bay door, and he was stretchered away prior to commercial with Cody and Matt Jackson accompanying the ambulance to the hospital. Next, we had Nyla Rose and Bea Priestley defeating Chris Statler and Hikaru Shida. After the match, Bea Priestley dropped Nyla Rose and held the AEW Women's Championship over her head. Next, we had a Dark Order mock promo hosted by Christopher Daniels, basically saying the Dark Order sucks, the Exalted One doesn't exist, and he challenged both Stu Grayson and Evil Uno to one-on-one matches. Him versus both of them in separate one-on-one matches. There we go. Next, we had MJF, the Butcher, and the Blade taking on Jungle Express, of course, Jurassic Express, sorry, or as Rod calls him, a baby boy and his dinosaur, or a baby, a boy, and his dinosaur. Yeah, there we go. Of course, MJF got the victory with the Salt of the Earth. Next, there was an interview segment where Tony Schiavone was interviewing his best friend Britt Baker. Of course, she was talking all that trash until Big Swole came out and basically talked some trash of her own. Britt Baker threw a coffee at Big Swole and ran away. Next, we had the debut of Death Triangle as Pac, Pentagon Jr., and Rey Fenix put away Joey Janela and Private Party. Afterwards, Death Triangle beat down on the trio as Best Friends and Orange Cassidy made safe. After commercial, there was a promo from Dustin Rhodes basically saying he's going to be he's going to be tagging with Hangman Page, and there's nothing he's going to do, well, whether he likes it or not. There we go. Next, there was a montage of people in the search for Shawn Spears' tag partner, including What Culture's own Simon Miller. Ooh, I hope he gets it. I hope he at least gets TV time. Because Simon Miller is great. He's one of the most positive people I watch on YouTube. Next, there was some matches made for the next week. It was Lucha Brothers taking on the Best Friends, an appearance by the Exalted One, an Inner Circle versus Elite Six-Man Tag match, which would give an advantage in the Blood and Guts match. Next, there was a sit-down interview hosted by Jim Ross with Jon Moxley, and it was basically Moxley saying he's not done with the Inner Circle yet. And finally, in the main event, we had Hangman Adam Page and Dustin Rhodes defeating Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. However, it ended with a big-ass Inner Circle and Elite brawl. Of course, there was a point where Matt Jackson saved Hangman Page from getting Shield-style powerbomb by the Inner Circle. And, of course, all Matt Jackson had to say to Hangman Page was... And of course, Matt Jackson and Hangman Page got taken out too. So that ended the March 11th edition of Dynamite. We head to the March 18th edition of Dynamite, which was the first empty arena show. It was supposed to come from Rochester, New York, but given the fact that that this whole mess is going around, they had to hold Dynamite at Daly's place down in Jacksonville until further notice. Kicked off the show with a promo from Cody Rhodes, who basically he more or less, in a roundabout way, said the exact same Triple H said the week prior on SmackDown, except for it was not as long. Then, of course, he called out Matt Jackson, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page. Matt comes out, he airs his grievance. Kenny and Cody, they air their grievances because they were on separate sides of Bullet Club Civil War, and then they just kind of make peace with it. Hangman Page comes out, and Matt Jackson asks if he can if Hangman had their back. Of course, Hangman basically said, yeah, I got it. And then they started the show. Next, we had Tony Schiavone interviewing MJF, who was at ringside with Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears. And MJF basically said, I'm not wrestling because I don't have to. He's going to let everyone else go out there and hurt themselves. Him and Shawn Spears would be gambling throughout the show, betting on matches. It was really good. Then they asked Tony Schiavone if he wanted in on it. First up, we had the Lucha Brothers taking on the Best Friends. Of course, no pack anywhere because of you know what. So Orange Cassidy was on ringside. He just kind of tapped out most of the match. A couple of times he'd pop off commentary to go to square up to Pentagon or Phoenix. Afterwards, the Lucha Brothers got the victory because they kicked Trent Beretta in the dick, as Chuck Taylor put, or as Chucky T so elegantly put it. Afterwards, the Best Friends challenged the Lucha Brothers to a street fight in a literal street or a parking lot. Next, we had my all-elite wifey Hikaru Shida defeating Penelope Ford, Riho, and Chris Statlander in a fatal four-way match. Afterwards, Kip Sabian, who had accompanied Penelope Ford down at ringside, got into a confrontation with Colt Cabana, who was sitting ringside. And of course, Colt Cabana slapped the taste out of Kip Sabian's mouth, and Sabian just kind of scurried away. Next, we had a short interview from Mox, who basically said he's still not medically cleared, so he's just gonna take a drive in his GT and just kind of clear his mind. Next, we had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy defeating the Butcher and the Blade. And of course, it's worth noting that the little bit of crowd that AEW did have was mostly other talent. You know, they had faces on one side, heels on the other. It was nice. Definitely added a little bit more sound to it, other than WWE, who had just a blank arena. Next, we had Evil Uno and Stu Grayson coming out to the ring to announce the identity of the Exalted One. SCU basically came out and said, well, Christopher Daniels came out and said, "Oh, there's no Exalted One. You do nothing but lie." Then there was a vignette package for the Exalted One, who turned out to be Brody Lee, of course, the former Luke Harper. Basically made it known that he is the Exalted One. The man can cut great promos. It's fantastic. Great to see him. And of course, Luke Harper, Brody Lee, and the rest of the Inner Circle. The rest of the Dark Order. I've been playing catch up on all these videos, so it's kind of rough on my brain right now. Anyway, they laid out SCU, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. This is breathing new life into the Dark Order. Next, we had a vignette for Lance Archer, who him and Jake Roberts were sitting at ringside in the heel section, and all it was Lance Archer beating up on some hillbillies. And finally, we had the main event, which was six-man tag team match between the Inner Circle and the Elite. The winners got the advantage at Blood and Guts. Or, not anymore, I guess. It was Santana, Ortiz, and Hager taking on Cody, Matt Jackson, and Hangman Page. Yeah, this was a pretty good match. However, in the end, the Inner Circle got the victory because Matt Jackson and Hangman Page were going to go for the Meltzer driver, but Hangman Page got pulled off the apron, and Matt Jackson got pinned by Santana. The Inner Circle got the advantage at Blood and Guts, which, as of this recording, has been postponed. They will have the match, but at a later date. Afterwards, Jericho took to the stage and he said, until further notice, he is banning all fans from any AEW events going forward. And Jericho is basically making good points about why the Inner Circle should beat the Elite. Then, to drown out Jericho's incessive monologuing, was the sound of a drone. Then it was known that Matt Jackson revealed that the replacement for the injured Matt Jackson, or Nick Jackson, was somebody that owed the Jacksons a favor. Of course, the drone that had landed in the ring was a clear indicator of broken Matt Hardy, who was just in the cheap seats of Daly's place, just kind of doing this number, making all sorts of weird and goofy faces. Fucking loved it. It's great. Of course, Matt Hardy owns the broken IP, so he's welcome to use it how he sees fit. And that ends AEW from March 18th, or should that be March? No, March 18th. March 18th. So yeah, Basically, what's supposed to be the go home show to Blood and Guts, but since Blood and Guts is postponed, as well as AEW going out and touring for the for at least the springtime, it seems that plan is off the table. Um, that being said, before I forget to do it, or before you forget to do it, in case you ever find yourself with some downtime with all this quarantine, make sure you go check out Rod's podcast, Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime, where he goes through the same wrestling spiel, and he's probably talked a whole lot about this certain virus. So, that being said, I'm War Machine MJ, and please wash your hands, cover your mouth, stay home if you don't feel too well, go to the doctor if you don't feel too well, and remember, stay healthy, be safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bang!